Hi everyone, welcome to today's pre-op diet webinar. Before we go ahead and get started, I do want to introduce myself. My name is Christina and I am a nutritionist here at Mexico Bariatric Center. I got my degree in nutrition at UC Davis here in California, and I've been working at NBC for almost a whole year. On the screen, you have my contact info. You can either take a picture of it or a screenshot, but I will have it on one of the slides at the very end as well. And today's pre-op diet webinar is going to be split up into 3 parts. So part 1 is going to be the purpose of the pre-op diet. Part 2 is going to be the actual pre-op diet, and then we'll have a Q&A portion at the end. If you do have questions throughout the webinar, feel free to put them in the Q&A chat box. And there will be some slides where we have to pause and I can answer them then, or if I don't get to them then, I'll just answer them at the very end. So part 1 is the purpose of the pre-op diet. So the purpose of the pre-op diet is to train your liver. So as on the picture, your liver is located above your stomach, and in order for the surgeon to get stomach, they have to move your liver out of the way. And if it's smaller, that decreases the chances of complications. So weight loss is not the main goal, but it is an added benefit of the pre-op diet. And these meals are really good for good practice for the post-op diet, and they kind of get you in the mindset of healthy living and kind of like changes that you need to make. So your pre-op diet length is going to be based on your BMI. Everyone will have 2 days of liquid right before their surgery, but depending on your BMI, that will add to the length of your diet. And so the diet is there to help you kind of start to learn healthier habits, as well as focus on quality food sources and ditching the processed/fatty foods. And it has kind of been seen that patients who do follow the diet have an easier recovery and can have less insufficiency, but it also kind of teaches you portion control. Just give me one moment. I'll turn on the light. There we go. Now we will move on to part 2. So part 2 is going to be the actual pre-op diet, which is what I'm sure all of you are here for. So a big portion of your pre-op diet is going to be lean protein. So you can have 2 meals on the pre-op diet of solid food, and you should have 4 to 6 ounces of lean protein with those meals. So some good examples of lean protein are chicken, lean ground beef, eggs, fish, salmon, lean steak, turkey, mame, tofu, and tuna. Making sure you're getting enough protein throughout your day will help you stay full, but it can also help curb any cravings that you might get in the evening. For those of you who might not know what 4 to 6 ounces looks like off the top of your head, it's about the size of your palm. So that can be kind of a good way to know how much protein you should be getting. The other half of your plate can be vegetables. You can have an unlimited amount of these various carbohydrates. Some good examples are cauliflower, cucumbers, any variety of lettuce, broccoli, carrots, green beans, tomatoes, zucchini, Brussels sprouts, peppers, and pickles. This isn't the full list, but there's a lot of other things. For example, like onions aren't on this list, but you can have onions. This is just kind of an example, but some things to avoid on the pre-op diet are potatoes, corn, peas, squash, and pumpkin. Then we will also have you focus on healthy fats, so you can have 1 to 2 servings of healthy fats. So these are like your oils, avocados, nuts, salad dressings, nut butter, and seeds. A serving of an oil is about 1 tablespoon, or about 1 tablespoon of nut butter. For avocados, it's about half an avocado. Then you can have 2 tablespoons of a sugar-free dressing, or 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. So this list is really important right here. Some things to avoid, any kind of starches, bread, rice, pasta, tortillas, baked goods. And you want to limit your fruit to half a cup of berries or half a banana or half an apple a day. You do want to try to limit sugar as much as possible and cut it out from your diet. There's also no processed meats. There's no bacon, salami, bologna, sausage, beef jerky. There's also no potatoes, corn, peas, or popcorn, as I mentioned. There's also no dairy on the pre-op diet. So that means there's no milk, no cheese, no yogurt, no cottage cheese. There's also no alcohol, and there's no drinks containing sugar, so no carbonated drinks like soda or sweet tea. And 2 weeks before surgery, you should stop having any alcoholic beverages, any caffeine, and any vitamins and supplements. So something to start practicing, which is going to be necessary for post-op, is not drinking 30 minutes before and not drinking until 30 minutes after a meal. So this is important because if you're drinking within 30 minutes of eating, that can cause you to have nausea or vomiting or even just stomach pain and diarrhea. But drinking 30 minutes after your meal can cause you to push through your digestive tract too quickly, which can cause you to be hungry, and it can cause your body to not absorb as nutrients. So now we're going to go into a poll question. Is bacon a good source of lean protein? So here we go. I'll give you guys about 20 seconds to answer. So is bacon a good source of lean protein? What about tuna? Okay, so I'm going to end the poll, and here are those results. So bacon is not a good source of lean protein as it is high in fat. Meanwhile, tuna is a great source of lean protein. Now we're going to do a question. When should you stop caffeine, vitamins, supplements, alcohol? Okay. Since mostly everyone has answered the question, I'm going to end the poll. And here are the results. So the majority of you got it correct. 88% said 2 weeks before surgery. So that is correct. For those of you watching on the Facebook Live, the poll questions are only on Zoom, unfortunately. Okay, so now we're going to go into some recipes. And as you can see in these recipes, you could either take a screenshot of these or take a picture. But as you can see, all of these recipes have seasonings in it. So seasonings are okay to use on the pre-op diet. You just want to make sure there's no starch, dairy, or sugar in any of your seasonings. But you can still use things like salt, pepper, paprika, cumin. Most household seasonings are fine to use. It's usually the blends or the mixes that you have to check to make sure they don't have any added sugar or dairy or starch in them. I see we have a question on the poll. Trisha said, "I will be 2 days liquid. Should I stop caffeine 2 weeks before?" Yes, you should still stop caffeine 2 weeks before. It is a diuretic, and we want you to be as hydrated as possible for surgery. Okay. So now we will move on. I can always come back to this slide at the end of the presentation if you didn't get a chance to take a picture of it. But on the pre-op diet, we would like you to have up to 2 protein shakes per day. Your protein shakes should have a minimum of 20 grams of protein in them, and they should all have less than 5 grams of sugar. Something that is a whey isolate or a combination plant-based where egg white is fine. You can either do the pre-made shakes or the powders. Most patients really like the Fairlife protein shakes and Premier protein shakes. And your powders, they can either be mixed with water or unsweetened almond or coconut milk, or you can make your own shakes. Here are some protein powders that we recommend. So all of these have 20 to 30 grams or more of protein and less than 5 grams of sugar. I do know that some of these have unflavored versions, which can be perfect for adding into your clear liquids or using post-op to add into your food so you're reaching your protein goals. And every single person who's getting surgery has to do 2 days of clear liquids. We just want your stomach to be empty for surgery, making it safer. And some things you can have on the clear liquids are water. You can have 100% real juice that's diluted with water, 60% water, 40% juice. You can also have clear broth like chicken, beef, or vegetable broth. You can also have sugar-free Crystal Light or Powerade Zero. You can also have unsweetened decaf tea. You can have sugar-free Jello, sugar-free popsicles, and I highly recommend having protein water. This can help you fight hunger. It will also promote healing after surgery. You can buy pre-made ones like Gatorade Zero with protein, Protein 2O, or Premier Clear. You can also get unflavored protein powder and add it into any of your other clear liquids to make your own protein waters. And now, just for any medical questions, unfortunately, or any questions about medicine, I'm not a doctor, so I can't answer those, but our surgeon liaison, she is a doctor, and she can answer all of your medical questions, and her contact info is on the screen. And you can either take a picture of this or a screenshot, and I can also pull it up at the end of the presentation. So now we're going to have another poll. Can you drink protein shakes during clear liquids? Okay, so we have some questions. Are the lean protein and fats servings listed per meal? Yes, those are per meal. So 46 ounces per meal, as well as 1 to 2 servings of a healthy fat per meal. So you can't have Greek yogurt because it is dairy, and we want you to cut out any dairy on the pre-op diet. Yes, I can email the PowerPoint presentation to you guys afterwards. Send me an email at nutrition@mexicobariatriccenter.com and that you want a copy of the presentation, and I will email you back the presentation. Yes, decaf coffee is okay during the 2 weeks before surgery. Sherry wants to know, what about gluten-free shakes? I can't have whey. So those are okay on the pre-op diet as long as they meet the requirement of at least 20 grams of protein and less than 5 grams of sugar. For the broth on the clear liquid diet for sugar, we want it to be sugar-free. Robert wants to know, are non-dairy creamers and artificial sweeteners okay? So you can have monk fruit and stevia for artificial sweeteners, and you can have non-dairy sugar-free. You can also use your protein shake, any of the Premier shakes that are flavored, except the coffee flavored one and the oat one. But you can use something like the caramel one to as creamers so it can kind of sweeten your shake. Your decaf coffee. Okay, so I'm gonna end the poll. Okay, so this one you kind of usually stumps people. 70% said no, while 27% said yes, and some people said I don't know. So no, you cannot have protein shakes during clear liquids, but you can have protein waters. An easier way to kind of think about clear liquids is if you can, you should be able to see through it. It shouldn't be thick like a protein shake or like a puree, but you should be able to see through it. And the color doesn't matter for these. Our next question, how many grams of sugar should the protein shakes be under? How many grams of protein should your shake contain? Here we go. Okay, I'll give you guys a few more seconds to submit your answer. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll. And here are those results. So 94% said 5 grams of sugar, so that is correct. Your protein shake should be under 5 grams of sugar, and 81% said 20 grams for protein, so that is correct. Your shakes should have at least 20 grams of protein in them. Now we are going to move on to part 3, which is a Q&A portion, but I'll also be going over the vitamins that you need for post-op. So it's important to stop your vitamins 2 weeks before surgery and start taking them again at 14 days after surgery. The reason why we want you to stop them 2 weeks before surgery is that some of them do increase your bleeding risk. So just to, it's an extra precaution to make surgery safer. We want you to stop taking your vitamins at 2 weeks before surgery. And you might be wondering why vitamins are important. Well, if you have deficiency in vitamins and minerals, you can have fatigue, muscle and hair loss, as well as blurred vision, nerve damage, cracked and dry skin, as well as weak and brittle bones. And just getting in all your vitamins can really help improve your overall health. So the American Society of Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery actually came up with some guidelines for bariatric patients. And I know that this can seem like a lot, but on the next slide, we'll condense it down into just 4 vitamins. But basically, you should be taking a bariatric multivitamin. You should be getting some thiamine, zinc, calcium citrate, vitamin D, iron with vitamin C, and a B12 supplement. And for your calcium, it will be best to split it up into multiple doses throughout your day just for best absorption. So your vitamins basically condense down into 4. And this is based off of the Emerge Bariatric vitamins, but it's kind of general among other brands as well. But it'll be a multivitamin. Your multivitamin will have your thiamine and zinc in it. Then you'll also want to take a calcium citrate. You want to make sure it's a citrate, not a carbonate, just because the citrate will be easier for your body to break down after surgery. Your calcium citrate should have vitamin D in it, which helps the calcium get absorbed in your body. You'll also want to take an iron with vitamin C. The vitamin C helps your iron get absorbed, and you do want to make sure you're not taking your iron and calcium at the same time. You want to make sure you're taking them at least 2 hours apart from each other. And then you should also take vitamin B12. You can either do the oral supplements or you can do the shots. And hair loss and other deficiencies are common in the first few months after surgery just because of your rapid weight loss, lack of calories and protein. You're not eating as much nutrients as you used to. Or you're taking bad quality vitamins, or you don't necessarily understand the vitamin schedule. So here, this is also based off of the Emerge Bariatrics vitamins. But if you were to get a drinkable, you would have to take a scoop of it in the morning and in the evening, and then you would take your calcium and your iron at least 2 hours apart. And you do still need to take your B12 supplement. If you do the chewable, you can see the calcium is split up throughout the day. And your iron and calcium are at least 2 hours apart. So I highly recommend Emerge Bariatrics. They are made for bariatric patients, so they will fulfill all your vitamin requirements, you can use the code enjoy 10% for 10% off your vitamins at bariatrics.com. It's very important to take bariatric specific vitamins because they do have higher doses or higher amounts of nutrients in them than just plain old over-the-counter multivitamins or any other vitamin supplements. So Emerge has a chewable, it's bariatric specific. Compared to a generic over-the-counter vitamin, it has a ratio of 1:4 of nutrients. And to fulfill all your requirements with the chewables, you need an iron, calcium, multivitamin, and B12. It is highly recommended that you do either a soft chew chewable or a drinkable vitamins, just because those will be easier for your body to absorb. Emerge also has a soft chew. All of the different vitamins come in different flavors, and they will fulfill all your vitamin requirements and will be easy for you to absorb. Emerge also has a drinkable. You would just do 2 scoops a day. This has a lot of your multivitamin requirements as well as 5 milligrams of calcium citrate. So if you do 2 scoops a day, you'll only need to take calcium citrate one additional time during your day. It also has fiber and electrolytes, and vitamins in liquid form are easier to digest and should be easier in your body and not upset your stomach. Emerge also has a meal replacement. It has 27 grams of complete protein. That just means that it has all of your essential amino acids that your body can't produce. It also has calcium, zinc, and biotin, which is good for minimizing hair loss. And it also has less than 5 grams of sugar, so it would make a great protein shake option. And now we're going to compare some vitamins. So if you look at this chart, the Emerge chewable multivitamin is on there, the drinkable, and then we're comparing to the Centrum multivitamin and the multivitamin gummies. So if we were, for example, to take a look at the zinc, there's 15 milligrams of zinc in the chewable, 15 in the drinkable, which is what is required after surgery. There's 11 milligrams in the adult multivitamin, and then the gummies have even less. So that's kind of how you can see that bariatric vitamins do have more. If you look at some other things like the thiamine, the difference is a lot more significant. And thiamine is actually really important after surgery because it can help prevent nausea and vomiting. But so if you were to take enough of the gummies or the adult multivitamin to meet that thiamine requirement, you would have to take a ton of the regular adult multivitamin, and then you'd have to supplement with thiamine if you're taking the gummies. But if you were to try to take enough of the gummies to your requirements for the other vitamins, you would have to take about 10 of them a day, which would increase your sugar intake to about 1 gram of sugar, which can actually end up stalling your weight loss in the long run. Well, you might be thinking, well, what about Flintstone vitamins? So they're not recommended. There's no thiamine in them. The folic acid is low. There's not enough zinc, and the vitamin D is also too low. And they also have 3 grams of sugar just for 2 gummies. So if you were to try to take enough of them to meet your requirements, you would end up taking about like 10 of them as well. So it's not recommended. What about the patches? So we actually don't recommend patches either, just because not all of your vitamins can be absorbed through the skin. For example, your vitamins B and D cannot be absorbed through the skin, and vitamin D actually happens to be one of the most common deficiencies after bariatric surgery. So that's why we don't recommend them. There's also not a lot of research done on how they affect patients in the long run. And then we do recommend that you take a digestive enzyme and probiotics after surgery, and you can start these at 2 weeks. Close up with your other vitamins. A digestive enzyme can just kind of help you digest your food and help break it down. It can help prevent any nausea and increase absorption of your nutrients. A probiotic can help in digestion. It can help with your immune system. It can help with weight loss, and it can help with absorption of B12, which is essential, or like if you're deficient in B12, it can affect your energy levels. So we highly recommend those. For your digestive enzyme, you could do something like a papaya digestive enzyme, and then for your probiotics, you just want to make sure that they have at least 50 billion CFU or higher. So now we'll go into some poll questions. Are over-the-counter multivitamins sufficient for post-op? Okay, since mostly everyone has answered the question, I'm going to end the poll. And here are those results. So 97% said no, which is correct. So they're not going to provide enough adequate nutrition to prevent your nutritional deficiency. Our next question is, which vitamins should you take at least 2 hours apart? So remember I was saying that there are two vitamins that compete for absorption, so you should take them at least 2 hours apart. Which vitamins are those? Okay. Since mostly everyone has answered the poll question, I'm going to end the poll. And here are those results. 74% said iron and calcium, which is correct. Those are the two that you definitely want to take at least hours apart. Okay. Now I wanted to share some tips and tricks with you guys. I recommend drinking some lemon water. Lemon is just naturally high in vitamin C and calcium, which can help boost your immune system. It can help you, if you do this throughout the day, drink lemon water throughout your day, it can help you lose and maintain your weight. If you do end up doing or drinking lemon water first thing when you wake up, wait 30 minutes after before you have your breakfast. You do want to make sure you're staying very hydrated on the pre-op diet. I recommend 64 water. I highly recommend adding in some flavoring, or you can even add things like lemon, lime, or cucumber into it to kind of give it some flavor so it's not boring to drink. I also want to say make sure you're eating enough healthy carbs like fruits and vegetables, and you're eating adequate amounts of protein. And I also recommend having a light breakfast. If you have a breakfast that is too fattening or too big, sometimes it can cause you to be sluggish throughout your day and tired. I also recommend that you cook your own meals, just control what goes into them. You can control them with salt. You can also make sure you're avoiding those three big things, starch, sugar, and dairy. You also want to make sure you're chewing and eating slowly, just because if you're eating with distractions or you're eating too quickly, you can miss your body's cues when they tell you that you're full, so you can end up overeating. You'll end up feeling bloated and kind of sluggish. I also recommend exercising regularly um, and getting enough sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, at least 6 to 8 hours, it can impact your hormone levels, impact your immune system, and just your overall mental health. So just be sure to get at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night. And then before I go on to answer your questions, I do want to mention our podcast, Can You Stomach This? Done by two of our past patients, Rita and Sarita, and they both had surgery with us. And they do kind of just talk about their experience. They also go over the pre-op diet, post-op diet, exercising after weight loss surgery, even things like fast food and returning to work after surgery. They are available on, or this podcast is available on all streaming platforms. We actually do have, I believe, a new podcast that was supposed to come out when we started this webinar. So I highly recommend checking him out, even if you've listened to all the other podcasts. Also, we have some great resources like the YouTube channel where we answer questions. We also have our blog. I highly recommend checking out our website, just because our website is meant to be informational. So if you have questions or just want to go like into a deep dive into something, I just highly recommend doing that there. You could look through our blogs as well as just all our other information pages. And now going to the Q&A. For those of you who might have come in a little bit later or didn't catch it, my name is Christina and I'm a nutritionist here at Mexico Bariatric Center. My info is on the screen. That's my direct line. You can either call me or text me there. You can also email me any of your questions. Let's pull up the questions we have here. Okay. Is taking melatonin for sleep sleeping aid okay? Yes, you can take melatonin during the pre-op diet. Yes, bone broth is okay for your clear liquid diet. You just want to make sure you're not having any solids on your clear liquids. You do not have to stop taking melatonin for sleep 14 days before. Will we need to take bariatric vitamins? Definitely to. What can we switch to regular vitamins at some point? It depends on your surgery type. So if you're getting a restrictive procedure, such as a gastric sleeve, you can take your bariatric vitamins for 6 to 12 months post-op, and you can then switch over to regular vitamins. If you're getting a malabsorptive procedure like the bypass, you should be on your bariatric vitamins for the rest of your life. So you can't have dairy because it usually has a lot of sugar in it. Also, it does affect your liver, so we want you to cut it out as much as possible. Some good substitutes are unsweetened almond milk, unsweetened coconut milk, and yes, you can have Fairlife lactose-free milk. That would be fine. Okay, I'm gonna hop over to Facebook Live and see what questions we have there. I am having a really hard time staying on track for pre-op. I hope I don't have bad side effects. So it's really important to make sure you're following all the guidelines that we set for you, just because we do want you to be successful and it's good preparation for the post-op diet. If you're finding yourself not following the diet a lot, I recommend adding in extra days of clear liquids to your pre-op diet. Michelle says, had my sleeve in 2021 and I'm so thankful for MBC. We are very thankful for you as well. Let's see. Robert asked, does MBC provide food the day before at the hotel? Yes. So at the hotel, I believe there's a window that you can go up to and ask for your clear liquids. I believe they'll give you broth as well as sugar-free jello. I do know that sometimes after your pre-ops are done, the gelato van will come by outside the hospital, and you can get ice cream or not ice cream, gelato. It's a good treat while you're there. But yes, you will have food the day before at the hotel and while you're at the hospital. I do recommend bringing some powders, or not powders, some bouillon cubes, or like a bouillon or a broth packet with you for your airplane ride. Just so you can, because you can always ask for a cup of hot water on the plane and they'll give it to you. And then you can mix your bouillon cubes into that and you'll have something hot to sip on while you're on your flight. Kimberly said, sounds like the powder vitamin is going to be the easiest way to get it all at one time, but we still need to add the calcium. Yes, so you'll actually still need to add the calcium, the iron, and the B12. You just won't have to take as many of the calcium chewables. And then someone asked, for how long is dairy restricted? So you can have dairy post-op as early as phase 2, but I will say that sometimes dairy does not occur in patients after surgery for a little bit. It's called temporary lactose intolerance. Um, so I wouldn't recommend trying too early, but usually if you can handle the protein shakes in phase 2, you're fine. Have dairy. Is garlic supplements and cooked with raw garlic the same or two different things? I would assume garlic supplements would have a higher amount of garlic in them. Cooking with raw garlic is okay, but really small amounts of cooking are fine. You do want to cut out as much garlic in ginseng as possible, as they do increase your bleeding risk. Okay, now I will share some links with you guys since I see there are no more questions. You should be able to copy all of these from the chat in Zoom. Let me, and then I'll also add them on Facebook, in the Facebook comments. So basically you have a printable PDF, breakfast recipes, dinner recipes, and magic weight loss soup recipes. So for this soup, you can have as many servings of it as you would like. For the dinner and breakfast recipes, not all of them are going to be allowed on the pre-op diet, but at the end of each recipe, it'll tell you the time frame, and it'll say pre-op okay or not okay. So that's how you can know if it's okay to have. Also, the very first link is the printable PDF, and on there you just have you have the full guide. So you have the pre-op diet, the post-op diet, as well as the sample meal plans. Okay. So unfortunately, currently we don't have a bariatric vitamin package that can be purchased at the pharmacy. So all of your vitamins have to be purchased online. We are going to be trying to work on something once we open up our new hospital, to see if we can have vitamins there for patients to pick up, so they don't have to order them online. But as of right now, they are all online. And I can go back to the slide with the discount code in the website. Also, if there's any slides you guys would like me to go back over or just to show you, please feel free to put it in the Q&A box. Okay. Well, if there's no slides that people would like me to go over or no other questions, that will be it for today's webinar. If you come up with a random question after this, feel free to send me a message or give me a call, and I would be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Okay, well, thank you all for joining my webinar. I hope it was informative and gave you guys some insight to the pre-op diet. And I hope all of you have a great weekend.